Since time immemorial, boxing has been recognized as a gentleman's sport. In the noble art of fists, sporting rivalry is the only one accepted within the limits of a ring. As an example of this, I bring you the great fight between Muhammad Ali and Lyle, the night when a champion empathized with his dying puncher and marked the most poetic ending a professional match could have. But not before experiencing a true fight to the death, where control of the fight's rhythm danced between both fighters who stepped into the ring ready to unleash the best of their arsenal. Stay until the end to witness how Muhammad Ali and Lyle gave their all in Las Vegas, for a spectacle so grand that it couldn't simply stay in Las Vegas. Context. The year was 1975, and Muhammad Ali was already acting as a heavyweight champion. Since his debut on October 29, 1960, where he defeated Tony Hunsaker by unanimous decision after 6 tough rounds, he had proven not to be just any fighter, but an exceptional talent of his generation. For years, Ali embarked on an impressive winning streak, interrupted only twice before his fight against Lyle. The first was on March 8, 1971, when Joe Frazier defeated him by unanimous decision after 15 brutal rounds. The second was on March 31, 1973, when Ken Norton managed to edge him out by split decision after 12 grueling rounds of quality boxing. However, with more than 40 victories, at least 35 of them by knockout, it was clear that he was not a fighter to be underestimated. But it seems that no one passed the memo to Lyle. Lyle had made his debut on April 23, 1971, securing his first victory by technical knockout against AJ Staples at 1 minute and 10 seconds of the second round in a scheduled match. Without a doubt, he had had enough time to admire and evaluate Ali from the perspective of a devoted boxing fan. His first defeat came at the hands of the tough-fisted Jerry Quarry, who beat him by unanimous decision after 12 masterful rounds on February 9, 1973. After that, Jimmy Young followed suit, overcoming Lyle in a similar manner on February 11, 1975, just one fight before his bout against Muhammad Ali. The date set for this clash between two outstanding fighters, albeit from different generations, was May 16, 1975. The Las Vegas Convention Center in Nevada would open its doors to host one of the toughest fights of the year and one of the most valued of the era. On that honorable fighting ring, Muhammad Ali was set to defend his World Boxing Association and World Boxing Council heavyweight titles for the second time. But Lyle, the challenger, was determined not to make the task easy for him. Art Lurie, Bill Kipp, and John Mangriciana would serve as the ring judges, summoned to use their critical eyes to determine a fair winner if the clash of forces failed to do so by the end of the scheduled 15 rounds. And with Ferd Hernandez as the third man in the ring, the fight finally had its long-awaited start. The fight. As soon as the bell rang to start the contest, Ali left his corner with firm steps and determination, meeting Lyle beyond the center of the ring. Immediately, Lyle unleashed a damage control strategy that pushed the acclaimed champion against the ropes. Facing a challenger with a solid stance, Ali quickly realized that intimidating him like a bully wouldn't be enough.
8 rounds, Ali said. Championship. Joe Lewis is in the audience. I want to know what he thinks about it.
Confident from his performance in the previous round, Lyle left his corner determined to be the aggressor in the second round. Without hesitation, the challenger ruthlessly attacked the champion's body with severe combinations. Incredibly, Ali seemed to be reduced to nothing more than absorbing whatever Lyle's all-you-can-take menu of punches had to offer.
Losing his last one, but he's never been stopped, and neither has Ali. Jabs. Speed of punch.
After watching him spend most of the round trapped in a corner or against the ropes, the controversial champion's fans began to wonder when his extended first-round reconnaissance would end and his offensive would begin. The start of the third round was merely a continuation of the previous two. Lyle advanced with the confidence of a victor while Ali dug in, trying to yield as little ground as possible to his opponent. Even when the challenger seemed to hesitate before his next move, the champion maintained a static aura, uninterested in initiating close exchanges, a stance that was already beginning to reflect on the judges' scorecards. During this round, Ali managed to stay at the center of the ring for longer, but that was the only notable progress to acknowledge.
put your finger on these fights, the way they go, because he's so unorthodox at times. That's a good right hand again. He whips those punches across. Two lefts, and that following right was going to be a good one, but Lyle saw it coming.
But don't jump to conclusions just yet. The winds of fate were still blowing the outcome of this match in all directions. Lyle's relentless left hand broke the ice in the fourth round, forcing Ali to orbit around the center of the ring. Ali's guard remained impenetrable. Otherwise, the fight would have ended prematurely given the challenger's persistent attacks. Like a man walking step by step toward victory, Ali improved his stance in the conflict, managing to balance the scales just a little more. Lyle attempted to maintain control of the fight's pace with sadistic combinations aimed directly at Ali's head. Unfortunately for him, the champion's forearms seemed to have been trained for a lifetime to withstand that very moment.
Lyle wearing stars on his trunks and stripes on his socks. He boxed. Seconds to go towards the end of the fight.
Once again, his challenger's relentless offense forced Ali out of the center of the ring, making him rely on his footwork while retreating and occasionally bouncing off the ropes as the fifth round began. Energetically, Ali celebrated epic moments of his career by dancing around the ring and mocking Lyle's tension, leading with his left hand as an act of provocation. It seemed that the champion had finally put his strategy together, and the crowd grew increasingly pleased as he toyed with his challenger.
Round 5, we get the dancing. Waits to see what's going to happen. Opponents, because they haven't got the speed to... Oh, got in a good one there, he caught up with him.
The sixth round began, and the news wasn't good for Ali's corner. Unofficially, rumors circulated that the champion hadn't won a single round on the judges' scorecards, but there was still a long way to go. Ali left his corner with the same energy he had used to close the previous round, inviting Lyle in while moving around the ring to avoid standing directly in front of him. The information he had gathered shaped his strategy, testing it in a round where Lyle couldn't get close to him until the last 30 seconds before the closing bell, when once again he trapped Ali against the ropes and punished him with severe body combinations.
These left jabs stealing the points.
Back in his corner, Lyle sighed. Chasing Ali around the ring for nearly 3 minutes had drained him more than he had expected, and this would mark the beginning of his decline. Wait a moment. Before continuing with the video, why not take a few seconds to subscribe to the channel? I upload the best boxing content, fights from yesterday and today that deserve to be immortalized and analyzed. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any of them. Now, let's continue. The seventh round. In the seventh round, Ali finally seemed to grow bored of his antics and began to float and sting, a technique that had previously brought him great success. Lyle, in turn, landed a solid and powerful right hand, but after being the aggressor for so many rounds, this would be his only highlight. Lyle had a major weakness as a fighter. He lacked fast hands and feet and had a terrible habit of dropping his left hand after throwing jabs. Ali capitalized on this flaw, countering forcefully with his right hand every time the challenger let his left drop.
On 7. Full on the jaw. Just like you do with Foreman standing there. Notice the dancing has stopped. There's the bell, just like you did with Foreman.
The eighth round. The eighth round was one of the most anticipated, as Ali had predicted that this would be when he would knock Lyle out. While he didn't achieve it, he came close after landing a dozen right hands on Lyle's trailing left arm. The champion had significantly increased the intensity of his offense, but he hadn't done the necessary groundwork to push his challenger to the breaking point.
For the win, Ali. The first time he makes Lyle look very ordinary. Well, the prediction's gone west, although Lyle has courageously fought his way back.
The 9th and 10th rounds. In the 9th and 10th rounds, Ali decided to showcase some of his classic fighting style once again, dancing around the ring while making Lyle miss nearly all his attack attempts. He was likely trying to instill a false sense of security in his challenger, setting him up for an exchange that would blow up right in his face. Like a hungry predator, Lyle demonstrated his lack of strategic intelligence by falling into the trap, one of the mistakes he likely regretted for the rest of his life. The 11th round. At the beginning of the 11th round, Lyle feinted a left jab, but Ali beat him to it with his own left hand. Then, he followed up with a thunderous right to Lyle's jaw, sending him stumbling against the ropes.
He can't really go the pace anymore. Yes, he can. He's got him. Just for the right hand. Oh, what a bang.
Up until this explosive moment, Ali had given the impression of a fighter who enjoyed toying with his opponent in a tedious manner, almost like a child at play. But he shattered that image by launching a ruthless offensive. The champion pounded his challenger against the ropes and across the ring, eventually cornering him in a neutral corner. Lyle was overwhelmed, unable to block the incoming blows, and Ali turned to the referee, Ferd Hernandez, gesturing for him to stop the fight. Hernandez refused, as if allowing the most brutal scene of punishment to unfold, and Ali had no choice but to land a devastating left-right combination straight to Lyle's head. Incredibly, the champion showed his humanity by stepping back and repeating the gesture. Ali looked directly at Hernandez once more, signaling for him to end the fight. Having already witnessed what Ali was capable of if denied again, Hernandez relented and stopped the contest. At 1 minute and 8 seconds into the 11th round, Muhammad Ali defeated Ron Lyle by technical knockout. Conclusion. This fight is a clear example that how you start the race isn't always what matters. It's how you finish it. Muhammad Ali may have taken longer to defeat Ron Lyle than he initially predicted, but he went down in history for a dominant victory filled with the duality of a human being who empathized with his opponent and chose not to inflict unnecessary harm to prove his superiority. Without a doubt, a gesture that only a fighter who understands boxing as the discipline of gentlemen could display. If you've made it this far, I sincerely appreciate it. The best way to support my content is by leaving a like on the video. What do you think happened to the aggressive challenger that Ron Lyle embodied during the first 6 rounds of this fight? According to your analysis, at what point did he lose control of the match's outcome? I look forward to reading your comments.